Welcome to Last Stand Stories, where ordinary people face extraordinary odds, and every decision could mean the difference between life and death.
Imagine being a teenager, deep inside a cave. The lights are fading. The tunnels behind you have disappeared underwater. No food, no way out. And with every passing hour, the water keeps rising. This is the incredible true story of the Thai cave rescue, one of the most complex and dangerous rescue missions in modern history. On June 23, 2018, 12 boys from the Wild Boars youth soccer team and their 25-year-old assistant coach entered the Tham Luang cave in northern Thailand after soccer practice. For the team, it was supposed to be a fun afternoon adventure. Most of the boys had explored parts of the cave before. They expected to be back home before dinner. But nature had a different plan. Without warning, heavy monsoon rain began falling over the mountains. Water rushed into the cave system, filling narrow passages that had been dry only hours earlier. By the time the team realized the danger, the entrance route was already flooding.
Turning back was no longer an option. The only choice was to move deeper into the cave, searching for higher ground. Step by step, they climbed through darkness as cold water swallowed the tunnels behind them. Outside, bicycles were left near the cave entrance. As evening turned into night, worried families began searching for the missing boys. No one yet understood what had happened. But hidden nearly 2.5 miles inside one of Thailand's largest cave systems, 13 people were about to become trapped in a race against rising water, fading hope, and time itself.
As the boys moved deeper into the cave, the passages became steeper and narrower. The water kept rising behind them. Some tunnels were already completely underwater. With no way to return, the team climbed onto a muddy rock ledge high above the floodwater. It was the only place that offered safety. But it came with a terrible cost. They were now completely cut off from the outside world. There was no food, very little clean drinking water, and no way to call for help. The boys tried to stay calm. Their assistant coach, Akapol Chantawong, encouraged them to sit close together, conserve energy, and remain hopeful. Drawing on meditation techniques he had learned years earlier, he helped them stay as calm as possible, despite the growing fear. Outside the cave, rescue teams arrived within hours. Divers entered the flooded tunnels, hoping to reach the missing group. But the cave had transformed into a maze of fast-moving water. Visibility dropped to almost zero. Strong currents pushed against the divers with incredible force. Some passages were so tight that even experienced cave divers had to remove parts of their equipment just to squeeze through. Every meter forward became a battle.
Meanwhile, inside the cave, the boys had completely lost track of time. Darkness surrounded them. The sound of dripping water echoed through the chamber. They didn't know if anyone was searching. They didn't know if rescue was even possible. With each passing day, oxygen levels slowly began to fall. Now the greatest challenge wasn't just finding the boys. It was reaching them before the cave claimed them forever.
9 days passed. The world watched as hundreds of rescuers from Thailand and around the globe worked around the clock. Pumps ran day and night trying to lower the floodwater. Engineers searched for cracks in the mountain. Volunteers diverted streams away from the cave. Still, the boys remained hidden somewhere deep underground. Then, on July 2nd, 2018, 2 British cave divers, John Valanthan and Rick Stanton, made another attempt.
They carefully navigated the flooded tunnels, laying guide ropes as they moved through muddy water with almost no visibility. Every turn brought another obstacle. Every flooded passage could have ended the mission.
Then, in the darkness, their lights reflected off something unexpected. A group of thin, exhausted boys sat together on a small, muddy ledge. For a moment, neither side could believe what they were seeing. John called out, "How many of you?" One boy answered softly, 13. The divers smiled. Brilliant. The entire team was alive. The discovery shocked the world, but the celebration was brief. Finding the boys had been only half the mission. Getting them out was far more dangerous. Most of the children couldn't swim. To escape, each one would have to travel through nearly 2.5 miles of flooded cave, squeezing through narrow passages completely underwater. Even highly trained cave divers considered the route one of the most difficult they had ever faced. The impossible rescue was about to begin, and one mistake could cost multiple lives.
The rescue plan challenged everything experts thought was possible. The boys were weak after more than 2 weeks inside the cave. Most had never worn scuba gear. Some couldn't even swim. Yet each of them would have to pass through dark, flooded tunnels where there was barely enough room for one person at a time. An international team of cave divers, doctors, engineers, and military personnel worked together to prepare for the mission. Every detail mattered. A single equipment failure, one wrong turn, one moment of panic could put both the child and the diver in deadly danger. Doctors made a difficult decision. To reduce the risk of panic in the tight underwater passages, each boy would be carefully sedated before the journey began. A full-face diving mask was fitted to each child, allowing them to breathe more safely while remaining protected from the freezing water. Experienced divers guided them through the cave one at a time. The journey lasted for hours. Divers squeezed through narrow rock passages, climbed over submerged ledges, and followed guide ropes through water so muddy they often couldn't see their own hands. Outside, thousands of people waited anxiously. Families gathered near the cave entrance. News crews from around the world reported every update. Then, the first incredible announcement arrived.
One boy had made it out alive. Soon, another followed. Then, another. Hope, which had seemed impossible just days earlier, was finally beginning to grow. But several boys, along with their coach, were still deep inside the flooded cave. The most dangerous part of the mission was far from over. Over the next 3 days, the rescue teams repeated the same dangerous journey again and again. One by one, each remaining boy was guided through the flooded cave by expert divers. The mission demanded extraordinary precision. There was no room for error. Finally, on July 10th, 2018, the last members of the Wild Boars team and their assistant coach emerged into daylight. All 13 people had survived. It was a moment of relief that echoed around the world. The rescue involved thousands of people from many countries: Thai Navy SEALs, international cave divers, doctors, engineers, soldiers, police officers, volunteers, and local residents, all working toward one shared goal. The success came with profound sacrifice. Former Thai Navy SEAL Saman Kunan lost his life while delivering air tanks inside the cave during the rescue effort. His courage became a lasting symbol of selfless service and determination. The boys eventually recovered and returned to their families. What began as a routine afternoon after soccer practice became one of history's most remarkable rescue missions. The Thai Cave Rescue reminds us that survival isn't always about one hero.
Sometimes it's about strangers from around the world choosing to work together, refusing to give up, even when the odds seem impossible. If you enjoyed this true survival story, subscribe to Last Stand Stories, because the next story could be even more incredible. Until next time, stay strong and never lose hope.